Hello, everyone. This is Chris. Today, we're here to talk about the CBN move to control the inflation in Nigeria. But before we start, let's get to the very common definition of inflation. Inflation is one of the definition is a loss of purchasing power that reflects a rise in prices for goods and services over time. Okay, and some of the causes of inflation that we commonly know. Okay, some of the causes of inflation are what? Increase in the production cost, increase in production costs, and market disruption. Increase in production cost, market disruption. Some people say reduce interest rates, and some people might even add government spending as part of the causes of inflation. But we've had the CBN governor saying that the way to control Nigerian inflation is to increase interest rate. As of today, Nigerian interest rate falls between 20 and 30%. Officially. Go to the commercial banks, the commercial bank charges you anywhere between 30 and 40%. Between 30 and 40%. Which then means that our interest rate in Nigeria is one of the highest in the world. Why would the government or the CBN think about increasing that interest rate? Is our inflation from what we know? Is it as a result Is it as a result of the low interest rate or other factors? If it's as a result of the low interest rate, we can work on that. Let's not start applying Western theories to our own typical situation. Our inflation is for me, our inflation is as a result of government disruption of the system. How did government disrupt it? The free flow of the naira. The free flow of the naira. And the government indiscipline in controlling their expenses. The insecurity in the country. How does that got to do with interest rates? That CBN is thinking about increasing the interest rate. This is common economics. Before you start looking for a solution, you need to know the root cause of the problem, not picking one solution to solve all problems. If government is unable to control their expenses or unable to control the free flow of the naira, knowing fully well that our economy is 90% dependent on imported goods, why would we be working hard to control the interest rate, to increase the interest rate in the country? It then means that we are trying to worsen the economic situation. I've said in several videos that CBN is doing trial and error. Cardoso is busy doing trial and error in the economy. Any attempt to increase interest rates will not only push people out of borrowing money from the banks, even though they don't borrow money from the banks right now, for those that can afford to borrow money out of the country, it will also increase the cost of item in the market. Again, we need to know the cost of our inflation. And the cost of our inflation, like I mentioned before, the government spending, the free flow of the naira, the insecurity in the country, the lack of trust in the system. We should focus on what really causes our inflation, not trying to suffer the common man by trying to increase the interest rate. When virtually right now, more companies are folding up because they can't get capital to run their businesses. And pushing the interest rate to 50% for the commercial banks will mean that nobody will borrow money from the bank again. And I can promise you that is not going to work in Nigeria system because that is not the cause of our inflation. And what would that mean to companies? They will increase the price of their items because they still need to cover their money. We talk about them as starting smaller margins. The companies are not even making any profit. So what would happen to some of them? They will close businesses. And also, increasing the interest rate will affect other areas that affects the companies themselves. Is it going to reduce? Um, is it going to reduce the purchasing power? No, it will increase it more. Nigeria, Cardoso and the group are playing try and error in our economy. They should look for the main cause of the inflation. It is not the interest rate low. Everybody in Nigeria know that the interest rate is on the very high side. We should focus more on trying to tackle this security, trying to force the government to cut their expenses, trying to control the free flow of the naira. If we don't get that done, interest rate control will never, interest rate increase will never work in Nigeria. Forget that, forget what it does to the Western world. The Western world are living in an organized system. Nigeria is living in an unorganized system. We have to know that. So we should stop applying the economic textbook theory of controlling inflation. That doesn't work for Nigeria. Cardoso and the group, the economic team, increasing interest rate will destroy the fragile economy. More companies will fold up because the little money they even get from the banks, they will not be able to get it anymore. Unless for companies who solely deal on contracts with the government or who deals on whatever they call it, illegitimate deals. But for a genuine business in Nigeria, any further increase in the interest rate will totally collapse the system for them. Nigeria, we need to think inward. Let's stop applying the economic book theory of solving our problems. We should look at the cost of our problem and know how to tackle it. Thank you. As always, if you are in Cardoso's shoe, would you increase the interest rate? Knowing fully well that the interest rate is not the cause of our inflation in the country. Thank you.